Alrighty, hello and welcome everybody to a race re-commentary here from Season 1, Round 7 in Division 1 in Japan, and I am joined by J-Man in the comms box.
Yeah, g'day Lindsay, it's great to join you here for this special event. Personally, one of my favourite all-time races we've got here. We're just joining in the middle of qualifying. Holy moly, what has Skits just done there? Skits just driven straight into the wall. So that's an interesting moment. But yeah, very much looking forward to what we're going to see this afternoon, because I don't really remember a whole lot about this race.
Yeah, neither do I. I think we both remember one very specific part of the race, and that part only.
Yeah, that'll be interesting towards the end. We won't give it away too early.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people here weren't around at the time that this race took place, so I think quite a few of these drivers are now banned from the league. So
Cayman's banned, Extra's
Skits.
banned, Skits is banned, Gordo
Well,
was
used
banned.
to be, but he's back now. So
And then Tom doesn't race. Dex
probably should have been banned.
Dex doesn't race. Twitch doesn't race. Zippy Bumper doesn't race. Water Hydrates doesn't race. Load Fiber doesn't race. Gordo is in the server but doesn't really race. Obviously, you and I race, and then Mewburn doesn't race, and Charles Lechair doesn't race. So,
Yep.
a lot of callbacks.
At this stage, we got Lindsay on pole by 8/10 ahead of K-Man, Charles Lechair, and Bonker Boy. I'll just run you through the championship standings as they were at this moment in time. J-Man, myself, 91 points in the lead, followed by Lindsay 13 points behind on 78. It was Skits 16 points further back, so he was about a race win behind, and then Zippy Bumper was about the same as well, as Charles Lechair had a bit of a moment on the curb there. Just looks like he's recovered it though.
A nice little save there. There's a couple of people now coming out onto outlaps. So we're going on board with Gordo now as he begins his first flying lap around Suzuka in this qualifying session with 10 minutes to go. And no, never mind. We're watching K-Man now.
Yeah, well, I invalidated my first lap of qualifying, so this is my second run as well. We're just having a look at K-Man on his outlap. He's I don't think he had a great deal of pace from memory, but it looks like he's done a solid job there.
He definitely made some interesting safety cars, you know.
Yeah, OCA actually just stops on the track. That's just classic right there.
Yeah, just letting people go. Oh no, here comes a Mercedes. That would probably be Lone Fiber. He's going through the Degners. Extra going quite slowly, but he's now going to pick up the pace again to get his tyres up to temperature.
Yeah, I think tyre temp was as much of a concern back in this game, but as it is nowadays.
I think it was. I just don't think the people in ORL particularly cared in Season 1.
Yeah, you're probably right. But yeah, OCA Extra, P7 at the moment, 22 seconds off the pace. That sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds roughly correct, you know.
And as for the Constructors' Championship, Aston Martin were leading on 94 points. 91 of them scored by myself, 3 scored by my teammate Bonker Boy, and Alfa Romeo close behind, with Lindsay scoring all the points for Alfa Romeo at this stage, as we have a look at Water Hydrates as he starts his flying lap.
Yeah, so the Silver Arrows, as they were in the W13 last year, as H. Mewburn tops meter pole, half a tenth, as Water Hydrates runs quite wide as he enters the second part of that turn 1 and 2 complex, and now getting all over the grass and the curb, but carrying a decent minimum speed for the moment, so he's looking to be on for a decent lap time through Sector 1, as he's catching a little bit of traffic in front of him, but I don't know if they're on an outlap or not.
Yeah, he's had a pretty solid first sector here so far, has Water Hydrates, keeps it nice in the track. It's looking pretty neat and tidy from him so far. He's got a Williams in front of him there, I believe, of Gordo. I think he actually might be on a lap as well here, so this could get a bit interesting. And he's spun around at an inopportune moment there. Luckily, didn't impede water hydrates too much through there, so still looking all right as he's coming around now. And yeah, still holding it together pretty well. This is on for a pretty decent lap. Can it challenge H. Mewburns potentially? Is now onto the back straight towards the final chicane coming up shortly. And yeah, purple middle sector there. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but coming towards chicane now. Turns it in. Looks pretty solid there from him. And now the run to the line, and he's going to cross the line 1:31.9 P3.
Yeah, so not a bad lap there from the Mercedes driver. There's a couple of people on outlap. I know I'm about to start a flying lap. Charles Leclerc is now on their outlap. So the Ferraris did do quite strong over the course of the season, but they just didn't really get... They were just consistently in the points. They weren't getting the big points from memory.
In the meantime, J-Man invalidated once again, so coming out for the third run of the session. Hopefully can get a lap in. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, obviously, we've also got to talk about, obviously, this game at the state it was in at this point, F1 22. This was before the physics patch, so this was when the game actually wasn't horrible. The pace definitely was slower. Not just because the game was new or the drivers weren't up to the scratch, it was just the physics were...
Boy also up 2 seconds on his lap, by the way, just quietly. So let's see if he can... He's making his way to the final chicane. He's quite handy around this track, is Bonker Boy. Coming to the line now. And what kind of time's he going to come up with? It's going to be fastest by almost 3/10. Bonker Boy, where's that lap come from?
I feel like you may or may not have remembered that.
I do remember that moment. He was absolutely...
I remember I've seen your video on this. I was 6/10 up. He goes P1.
And then Tom hits it into the wall after setting the fastest lap and retires from the session.
And then I cross the line.
Coming back here to try and take pole back, and he does.
By 3.5
tenths.
And I remember the reaction from watching your video. You've gone, oh, Lindsay snatched it. And he had a pleasant reaction, to say the least.
Yeah. It was one of the funniest things I've seen at a racetrack, setting the fastest lap and then throwing it straight into the wall after the lap finish. But yeah, well done. Lindsay takes back provisional pole there by a comfortable margin. I'm not sure if anyone will be able to challenge that. We're watching Charles Leclerc at the moment. Maybe he can. He's up a 1/10.5.
Yeah, so Charles Leclerc wasn't too strong on pace during their time in ORL, but they did have some decent results. I remember lap 1 though. There is some interesting stuff, but we won't spoil anything there. But I do remember I was in a party with Gordo in this race, and yeah, he definitely wasn't happy.
Yeah, I do remember the one thing I remember about Charles Leclerc is I did a race with him in Hungary,
and
I spun him out, and he absolutely lost it. That was one of the funniest Twitch moments I've ever seen in my life. And in the meantime, he's up 8/10, so this could be a seriously good lap as he makes his way towards the final chicane. Just needs to keep it held together, and this could be potential top 3 or 4 lap here, and he's looking pretty good as he runs to the line. Can he get it in the 130s? No, he can't. 131.6, and that puts him in P4.
Yeah, so there's 3 minutes 45 seconds left to go in this qualifying session. So one more run for quite a few drivers. Charles Leclerc won't have time to go for another one though. I'm not sure if... Yeah, I'm coming into the pit lane now, I believe. And I'll go for my final flying lap. But quite a few drivers went out quite early, including K-Man and I believe yourself. You're going through the S's. There's... Oh no!
Oh,
K-Man is right into the back of... who is that? Lone Fiber? No, Water Hydrates.
It's a 5-place grid penalty, and I think that makes sense because he was completely on the racing line there. And he'll be demoted down to 12th at the moment. In the meantime, I've gone 4th fastest on my lap. Not a bad effort. And so K-Man's going to have to come into the pits there. He probably won't have enough time to come out and do another lap, I don't think.
No, there isn't enough time. You have to come out pretty much with 2.5 minutes to go, at least from memory. at Suzuka on this game, and it's pretty similar on F123 too, as you can see quite a lot of drivers now on their outlaps. Dex is still in the pit lane, so he's just doing his own thing.
Plug mode, not sure if he's going to come out for another lap or not. Maybe he's happy with that P9 at this stage, but H. Mewburn at the moment is invalidated, so a bit confusing. It says he's on board with H. Mewburn, but watching myself here. Just coming up to the final corner and pitting now, so I think that is quali done for me.
I'd imagine so. I don't think I'm going out for one more run either, considering there's 2 minutes left. I could make it out, but I am not sure that I do, as Water Hydrates begins their lap right behind Gordo, so the dirty air might take a little bit of effect here. I don't know how these final runs go. This is where my memory starts to get a little bit blurry as Water Hydrates goes off the track, but still holds the momentum somehow over the top of the grass, so they're not running too bad through the first sector. Gordo pulling away in front of them, though, just a slight amount through the final part of the S's. This rounds out Sector 1 now as you round into the Degners. So how far is Water Hydrates going to be? Up? No, he's not up. He is 1.5 tenths down on his time. As Gordo spun it, I didn't even realise. If you go back to the final part of the S's there, just looking at the mini-map, he did loop it around, so that is unfortunate. That means he won't get a qualifying lap set in this session, as Water Hydrates put it into the wall at the exit of the hairpin.
Yeah, Zippy Bumper went 8th fastest there as well. He's currently P3 in the championship. We're looking at Lone Fiber now, as OCA Extra spun it round, but we'll see what Lone Fiber can do in the Mercedes here. No, we'll just look at the pit lane. Just give us a minute.
Oh no, that's Lone Fiber in the wall!
And out of the session, unfortunately, not going to improve from P10 there. Big shame for him. Now we'll look at OCE Extra. I believe had a spin, so that lap isn't going to be improved at all. There's still a little bit of time left in the session for someone to potentially get a good lap in, but it doesn't look like at this stage anyone's improving. Is Plug Mode going to get to the line? Maybe just here. Charles Leclerc and K-Man both aren't, looking at where they are on the track.
Yeah, there's only probably about 8 seconds left to go in this session, and Plug Mode did make the line, just about, so we can maybe see how he's going. We're on board with Zippy Bumper, who's invalidated his lap time, 6 seconds down too, so it wouldn't have really mattered anyway. So that is the end of qualifying. At the moment, nobody's been able to topple Lindsay in P1. Mewburn is in the final sector though, getting a bit of a slipstream here from Zippy Bumper. Will Mewburn do anything to the line? No, they're going to the pit lane.
Yeah, it's going to be either Plug Mode or Gordo, the only drivers who can make an improvement. Unfortunately, 1.5 tenths down here is Plug Mode now making his way around the hairpin. So looked pretty solid there. We'll see if he can make an improvement. He's currently 1.6 tenths off pole position as he makes his way through. Looking pretty solid through there. Repping Logan Sargent now wears number 2. So nicely done there by Dex as he makes his way through now. We'll see if he can make any improvement here.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Logan Sargent number must have been foreshadowing because Plug Mode has a very similar career path to Logan Sargent.
In the meantime, Gordo's up 19 seconds on his lap, so X is going to cross the line. Oh no, he isn't. He crashed just before the final corner, so no improvement for him. What about Gordo? He'll improve a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be enough to it gets him up to P12. So the Williams P11, P12, they've got a lot of work to do in the race, but Lindsay takes pole position, followed by Bonker Boy and H. Mewburn, the top 3.
Yeah, so your pole time is a 1 minute 30.7 set by me, and surprisingly, as you said, Bonker Boy goes P2, 31.1, only 3.5 tenths behind Lindsay, so a lot of pace there, especially specifically from that Aston Martin duo. So you and Bonker Boy quite close on the lap time, so it could be an interesting watch on the first lap and through the whole race. Who would be your favourite to win?
Yeah, I think Lindsay probably the favourite in this situation. 3.5 tenths pole position. If he can get a good launch, keep out of any trouble, he should be able to take this one home pretty comfortably, I think.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see as we now load in to the race. And I wonder what strategy everybody's going to go with, especially with that starting tyre at Japan. You want as much grip as possible, but do you want to sacrifice your opening stint for a good final stint?
Yeah, well, we'll see what the driver's up for. We're about to get underway here in Suzuka. It's going to be Lindsay alongside Bonker Boy. Lindsay, you didn't really have the greatest starts off the line this season, if I recall correctly.
No, I was no good at the starts. I used to just light the rear tyres up and go absolutely nowhere, so it'll be interesting to see if I can hold the lead into turn one. I don't particularly remember if I did or not. I do think I went side by side into turn one, but I guess we'll have to see. But I think there's a formation lap if I remember correctly from season one.
Well, we'll have a look. That formation lap was very glitched.
Yeah, there's going to be a formation lap.
Yep, so Lindsay is going to lead us away here, and we'll see what the starting tyres are. Looks like you're running the medium tyres there, and Bonker Boy I think is on the medium tyres as well. Yeah, everyone on the medium tyres besides water hydrates on the softs there. So interesting, most drivers opting for a similar strategy there.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty one-way strategy if I remember, but we'll see if there's any safety cars or anything that can shake it up later. I honestly don't remember how many safety cars there were in this race.
Yep, well, we will find out very shortly as we run through the field. We've got Lindsay P1, Bonker Boy P2, H Mewburn, followed by myself, Charles Lechair, OCA Extra, Zippy Bumper, Lone Fibre, and then Plug Mode in the Williams in 9th. K-Man in 10th in the Alpine, followed by Gordo, F1 Twitch, Skits a bit lower than he'd like to be in 13th, and then Water Hydrates rounds out the field.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting start, especially with your round 2 Canada winner, Gordo, down in P11. It'll be interesting to see how he makes a recovery. Same with Skits, he had some quite decent pace, obviously third in the championship, so he'll be looking to make some inroads as this race goes on. K-Man in P10 will probably try park the bus though, as he did happen to do.
Yeah, so a few drivers out of their normal positions, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can safely make their way through the field, but if the season so far has been any indication, I think there's going to be a lot of carnage off the start here.
Yeah, I think it was very common to see as now the drivers will be doing their burnouts to get their rear tyre temp up as Charles Lechair and Plug Mode get disqualified, and so does Zippy Bumper and Lone Fibre. So they'll now be on cold tyres, and they'll be starting a metre further back in their pit box, so they won't be super happy with that, as now everybody comes to line up onto the grid. Do I park up well? I believe I did, and I think I angled myself towards Tom. Yeah, I did. So I lined up quite well. Now here comes Bonker Boy. And great camera angles here. Thanks F122. He lines up well. And we
can really see all the drivers. Really see all the drivers well for this start from that camera angle. Here we go. The lights will be coming on here for 27 laps around Japan in Div 1. And we are underway, just waiting for the delay. There we go. Lindsay, not great off the line. Bonker Boy already coming alongside him here. But Lindsay just starts to pull away a little bit and it manages to cut him off into turn 1. J-Man gets past H Mewburn. Down the inside goes OCA Extra on him as well. H Mewburn under siege here. Bonker Boy just slots in behind Lindsay. The two Mercedes battling it out as well.
Oh no!
Water hydrates. That's a big crash by H Mewburn into the wall. And he is out of the race. Doesn't look like a safety car just yet. And they're still going on. J-Man closing in on Bonker Boy. Bonker Boy really close to Lindsay here as well. And Zippy Bumper's out of the race also. So we just lost 2 drivers, and that is a virtual safety car there to start us off.
Yeah, so definitely an interesting start there. Unlucky with Zippy Bumper and H. Muirburn just spearing it into the wall through the S's. It's super easy to do through the S's. Just the car quite light on the cold tyres, just can get away from you. And I think we saw potentially, because Lindsay lined up so early at the start of the race, while he waited for the other cars to line up, his tyres might have gotten a bit cold because Bonker Boy was all over the back of him.
Yeah, Water Hydrates also on those soft tyres went up 9 places from 14th to 5th, so he's done fantastically off the start. Gordo and F1 Twitch did pretty well also, and Lindsay did well just to hold the lead there, and now he's got the 2 Astons behind him.
Yeah, so the Astons obviously will play the team game. Very, very close, you and Tom. Good mates, so there was going to be no sketchy battling.
Yeah, no, we pretty sure we had that all figured out. This one might have been a little bit more disorganised than the safety car at the end of the race, as Water Hydrates comes into the pits to get rid of those soft tyres already.
Yeah.
K-Man as well.
Yeah, so K-Man into the pit lane. They're going for another set of mediums, Water Hydrates. Does K-Man have to box for a new wing? Yep, there's no wing on that Alpine. What's the surprise though? So, fastest lap of the race, obviously, because of lap 1 and with the safety car. A 153.4, absolutely zooming.
Interesting the Water Hydrates would change off those softs so early, considering the position he was in. But I guess that's how he goes.
Yep, so my internet has had a moment, and now we're watching in interesting quality. There we go. Yeah, so you're up 1 position, up into P3, and OC Extra got a pretty good start too behind, and now he's behind you, and then Lone Fiber is in P5, not a bad start for him. And Gordo, I think, moved up places. Yeah, he did move up places.
Yeah, he started 11th, so good from him. He can still have an impact on this race as well. Very good chance to score some good points here. If the positions stay as they are, and the championship gap will be reduced to 3 points. So that would make it very interesting coming into the last couple races of the season.
Yeah, obviously only a 10-round calendar in Season 1, so round 7, it was truly crunch time for the championship, so this would have meant a lot if the current result walked away as it is right now.
And also a big chance for Constructors' points for Aston Martin here to really pull away. They're in the lead only just at the moment, so we'll see what happens there as safety car still going around. Not sure, we'll probably get one more lap of it here as Lone Fiber almost went straight into the back of OCE Extra. That was a close call. We had a lot of safety car incidents throughout this first season of RRL also.
Yeah, so there was just quite a lot of stop-starting because the safety car on F122, at least at the start, it used to stop-start a lot. So it would catch out quite a lot of drivers. Yeah, and also another thing, I think it's not really important to the grand scheme of this race, but we used to race at 10 a.m. on the Sunday morning. It was rough.
I do not think I raced not hungover once this whole season. So I'm not sure if that improved my performance or worsened it. Maybe I should start doing that more often.
I mean, you used to get no penalties, so...
Yeah, I still do on occasion, but it does hurt the overall pace a little bit, trying to stay within the track, but it definitely also helped a lot more when everyone else was getting penalties. Yeah,
I think you and I, at least towards the end of this season, we were the only people not getting penalties. I remember at the start of the season, though, I was a shocker when it came to penalties. Yeah,
so we just have a moment here off camera under the safety car.
Invite someone, probably.
11 viewers, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, for a 10 a.m. race, I mean, you wouldn't really expect it, but I guess you'd get some American viewers here and there too, being 10 a.m.
And back in the days, only one non-PlayStation driver. That was when crossplay barely worked back at the start of F1 22.
And I think, obviously, it was a PS only league, but then crossplay came out. Oh, as Charles Leclerc spun it under safety car on the grass.
Yeah, he's just gotten on the grass there. Very interesting moment from him. He's now going to drop down to last, so a shame for him. He's going to have some work to do now.
Yep, so at least the safety car should restart at the end of this lap. There we go. And now the Alfa Romeo has control of the field. And let's see how I take this one away.
Yeah, there's going to be some two very hungry Aston Martins behind trying to make their way through. See if Lindsay can pull away from Bonker Boy here. Bonker Boy right up behind him, just egging him on, pushing him forward. And we get underway once again here. And Bonker Boy has reacted quite well here. He's quite close to Lindsay. I'm not sure if he's close enough to make a move. A little bit more straight line speed potentially there for the Alfa Romeo. Just hanging on to that spot. And it's all very close between the top three at the moment. And Bonker Boy's off the track and had a spin. Unfortunately, so just had a little bit of a moment in the S's there.
Oh, that's the Alpine off the track of Cayman.
Yeah, a lot going on here. Is Charles Leclerc now following skits as well. Water Hydrates has lost his wing down the back. Now Lindsay and J-Man have flown away from the field. Lone Fibre chasing down OCE Extra. So pretty solid safety car besides that moment from Bonker Boy there.
Yeah, so the two championship rivals are now the ones out front, and they're going to start battling away any time now. J-Man versus Lindsay. Who do you think had the upper hand on the race pace this season?
I think it's almost dead even for most of the season. I think probably luck went my way a little bit more around this track. I think the race pace was probably a little bit more in your favour, but it looks like I'm gaining quite a bit here, getting quite close to the back of you, which is something that's unusual nowadays.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's because normally I'm in the wall. So... oh no, OC Extra tags you around!
Yep, and there's goes the wing, hit by Lone Fibre, so that's going to need a pit stop. And now Lone Fibre moves up into second, OCA Extra into third. And now Gordo's chasing after Bonker Boy as well, so that's getting very close in that midfield there. And Gordo does get past Bonker Boy, in fact, into turn one. Oh, we actually... Gordo went off the track there, and yellow flag's out. Not sure who it's for. But actually, it is for Gordo. He's dropped down to 7th now, so a little bit of a moment with Bonker Boy there.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. Lone Fibre in the wall. Lucky to not pick up any damage, at least any visible damage, and Lindsay is leading the way by 3.3 seconds, only on lap 5. So
yeah, what a great getaway that is.
Yeah, good restart, and the Aston Martins have had a bit of a mare, but they still somehow have a driver on the podium, as Cayman nearly rear-ends off on Twitch there. These two might have a bit of a battle here, but I don't think it'll end in anything other than disaster, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, there's too many incidents to keep up with at the moment on the track. There's pretty much every driver in the field's having a moment at some point. As K-Man now is really starting to gain on F1 Twitch, pulls it down to 5/10. Went off the track there, unfortunately. So J-Man now down in 10th. Got some fresh, hard tyres on, so hopefully can take those a fair way. We'll see what happens. But yeah, now Bonker Boy catching up on OCE Extra.
Oh, and OCE Extra put it in the wall.
And yeah, he's just spun in the middle of the track. Oh, yeah. Fortunately, that car was actually ghosted. So
I remember this very distinctly. I was very angry because I thought that was intentional. And I still believe to this day that it was intentional to help Gordo. Because by that point, Gordo had left my party and gone into a party with Extra. And then conveniently, very, very conveniently, he puts it in the wall at the easiest flat-out corner of all time.
So yeah, OCA Extra out of the race. Bonker Boy and Lindsay, the top two in qualifying, and now back to where they were despite that spin from Bonker Boy. J-Man now down in ninth up to 8th after Skitz's pit stop. So we'll see a few drivers come into the pits now, I think.
Yeah, I think we will, but this benefits you quite a lot. Obviously, it puts you back up behind the rest of the field and allows you to get back through in a safe manner. As you can see, I'm doing all sorts of random adjustments, probably brake bias adjustments, on my wheel, and we're now going to be behind the safety car for the second time this race, and it's only lap 6. So we only have, what, 2 more safety cars until we reach the maximum?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a hallmark of ORL, the safety car. May as well just race it, have the safety car out on track the whole time so it doesn't have to bother to come out. But yep, so F1 Twitch actually up 9 places into that 3rd position, so he's had a great race so far, stayed out of any incident. Actually, can I call him he? I don't know.
Oh god, yeah. Oh,
Bay.
Yeah,
having a great race.
The Haas driver.
The Haas driver is having a good race so far. I hope they don't see this stream. Anyway,
mate, J-Man in the mud, never to be heard from again after this.
Yeah. J-Man's actually gone on the softs. That's a very interesting pit strategy there. So I thought I went on the hards, but I guess trying to look for a little bit more pace off the restart here. So we'll see what happens there.
Probably just predicting another safety car.
The top 3 dive into the pits there as K-Man nearly rams into F1 Twitch. Bonker Boy looks like he's lining up too. Everyone stays out, so obviously thinking it's too early. Another safety car is probably going to come. It's fair enough.
Yeah, obviously, you on the softs, you're going to make a nice little charge through and probably make a mount for the lead, but is the gap from 6-lap-old mediums to 2-lap-old softs under safety car going to be enough for you to truly put the pressure onto that top 3 once you get through?
Yeah, well, me of today definitely would have gone onto the hard tyres, but not sure exactly what I was thinking, but it's a fair strategy. It could come out, could work, might backfire, but we can only see on the restart here.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I were in your shoes, I probably would have gone to the hards, but I do know why you went to the softs. It would have been because you were predicting another safety car. I think back in Season 1, we used to pit to the softs a lot instead of pinning to the hards, because the logical thing to do was never the right thing to do when you knew there was another safety car probably 2 laps in the distance. Yeah,
exactly right. League racing was a lot different back then than it is right now. It's crazy how much a difference a year can make. And also, as ORL was a new league at the time, so a lot of drivers had never done league racing before this season.
Yeah, this was my 7th league race ever. So
same with me, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could, and not a league race, but you had more racing experience online under your belt than me, though, from F1 2020. So.
Oh yeah, that was we got very competitive on that game. That was actually probably more competitive than this was, in terms of raging when someone takes you out.
I mean, if you heard me in Silverstone and in Spa, you might think different.
I've seen that clip of you in Spa with that incident with Dex.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. One of the hallmarks of this championship battle. As the safety car is in this lap, and Bonker Boy all over the back of Lindsay. Will Lindsay get a good restart like he did last time and pull away? Or will Bonker Boy put the pressure on from behind? As here we go, Lindsay bolts early, catches Tom out a little bit, but Tom has the overtake on now, and will try chase in the slipstream as they head down to turn 1. Bonker Boy's probably going to get pressured, but K-Man and Gordo are going to go wheel to wheel as they head into turn 1. Who will come out on top here? Gordo sweeps through as Lone Fiber goes up the inside of K-Man, and that's a spin. Charles Leclerc has to try dodge them too as the Haas rejoins onto the track. F1 Twitch drops down to P4 past Gordo now, and Bonker Boy all over the back of Lindsay now as there's yellow flag in Sector 1, but it's now cleared, and Bonker Boy can try go for a move as the run to the Degners now. Lindsay got a nice little exit out of there, and Bonker Boy on same lap old tyres, and they won't be super high wear because of the safety car. Will anybody blink first with a mistake?
Yeah, well, yet again, another perfectly executed race start by Lindsay. I don't want to jinx it, but he's been really doing the race starts well so far today. So as Cayman gets past Gordo into P3, no, they're going wheel to wheel. Actually, it's going to be a bit close. And now Gordo up into the podium places. And I said he could make an impact on this race. Only 1.5 seconds off that leading pair. So he could be right back into it here. As Cayman had a look up his inside. Unfortunately, couldn't quite make his way through. Avoided incident there. And now he's going to try and catch up. Bonker Boy is still on the back of Lindsay, so not letting him pull away either.
Yeah, so 3/10 is the gap as they head onto
Gordo!
the straight. It's Gordo! Yeah, finds himself in the wall, and that's chaos behind! This car's all over the place. Water hydrates go straight, and that's a safety car as Bonker Boy was about to put the pressure on. That moves you up into P6. And will you come in for a new set of tyres now because you did go to the softs?
5-second penalty I did get from that incident, so chucking on the hard tyres now to get rid of that penalty with only 9 drivers left, so I believe Lone Fiber's come in also. Yeah. And yep, so Lindsay and Bonker Boy out front probably have to pit now after this.
Yeah, sadly I've been caught behind the safety car though. So that means you'll close up and I'll have to drop some track position. But given the trend this race is following, I think there's more safety cars to come.
Yeah, so the third safety car in lap 9 here. It's been incredible so far this race. Carnage everywhere. So down to just the 9 drivers. It's going to be an interesting battle between Lindsay and Bonker Boy. Have been battling it out all day today. And Bonker Boy probably in the best position he's been all season long. So he's coping pretty well under the pressure at this stage.
Yeah, I think that this race still has more to come, and at the moment nobody's really been blinking in that top 3 really. Mainly between Lindsay and Bonker Boy, so I think this race is going to be a matter of who makes the mistake first.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see the pit stop situation now. Probably about the right time to come onto the hard tyres, but as you mentioned, myself and Lone Fiber have now able to close up that gap to the safety car and on the new hard tyres also. So this could be perfectly timed for myself and Lone Fiber there.
Yeah, the safety car couldn't have been more inopportune.
The hydrates his wings just being knocked off by, I think that was contact with Charles Leclerc.
Not the first time this race.
Yep, so we'll see who comes into the pits here. Will Lindsay and Bonker Boy both come in?
Those mediums can probably only go about 13 laps, so if you're going to box, I'd box them now. You don't want to be boxing when you get hindered from no safety cars. Yep, they do come in as, Bonker Boy, 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Cayman now leads the Div 1 Grand Prix. And
followed by F1 Twitch and Charles Leclerc.
What a podium right now.
Yeah, wouldn't that have been something if the race ended up like that? They, F1 Twitch and Charles Leclerc still need to pit as well. I'm surprised they've stayed out, but now self in 4th place has just jumped both Lindsay and Bonker Boy in the lead there. So we'll see what the comparative pace will be like when the restart does get underway here.
Yeah, there's only one position in between you and myself, with Lone Fiber in the middle, all on hard tyres within 1 lap of each other. Will Lone Fiber put up a fight to Bonker Boy and Lindsay, or will he note that he just doesn't have that pace and will he try to back out?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting conundrum. What's even more interesting is whether what Cayman's going to do on those 8-lap-old softs here. They'd be hurting quite significantly there, so I presume that I'm going to get through these drivers relatively easily, and it just depends on how quickly the drivers behind can get through as well.
Yes, Charles Leclerc tries to put the pressure on to F1 Twitch behind the safety car. So we had no rule about...
A bit of intimidation tactic.
Yeah, we had no rule about the Max Verstappen intimidation tactic at that point, so we are technically allowed to go side by side on the restart at this point in time with Squawk's rather interesting version of a rulebook.
Yeah, so there were some interesting rules back in the day. I can't remember. There were quite a few problems with that rule book, but
Well,
they've
the
been
rulebook was
mostly.
just a PDF with the ORL logo on it that said "Race Clean, everybody." So
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, here we go. Safety car in this lap. And speaking of clean racing, we got K-Man to take us away for what will be the third restart of the afternoon or the morning. It was at this time. And we'll see he's following very close to the safety car. Could get hit by the limiter here, which will be the first time it's going to happen in this race. Here goes F1 Twitch. Charles Leclerc getting really close. J-Man and Lone Fiber as well. Right on the back. And here goes Charles Leclerc wheel to wheel with F1 Twitch into turn one. This could only end in disaster, but thankfully F1 Twitch has decided to go underneath. And that's actually quite a neat move there as Lone Fiber's gone round. And he's dropped down to last position as J-Man does get past Charles Leclerc into the podium places. And now Lindsay making his way past Charles Leclerc. So now J-Man and Lindsay only one position separated. Bonker Boy barges his way through as well. He's not going to get left behind. So it's going to be very interesting. The leaders now all right near each other.
yeah, so the provisional leaders are going to start battling away once again in this race. Lap 11 out of 27. Their hard tyres will make the end, but they won't be in a good position come around the last final 2 laps. So if there's a safety car around that point in the race, that could be quite crucial for race strategy.
Yeah, you're right. And Bonker Boy actually gaining quite a bit on Lindsay here. Lindsay just gained a fair bit on J-Man through that part of the track. A lot more pace in the second sector as the safety cars come out again. Charles Leclerc and Water Hydrates both DNF there. So that I don't think there was a safety car limiter because this is our 4th of the race. And yep, what carnage it's been so far.
Yeah, so there's only 7 drivers left. All of them will get points, even if your name is K-Man, and you're just going to try finish the race, which is an achievement for him at that point. He will get points just for finishing, as you now take the lead, and I am in P2, Tom in P3, so now Lindsay is under that pressured situation of being inside the Aston Martin sandwich.
This is going to be an exciting restart to watch now. Myself in the lead, followed by Lindsay here, and then Bonker Boy. We'll see what kind of tactics the Aston Martins employ here off the restart. Yeah, I think plug mode DNF'd a while ago, but I got to note that. He got very upset at that one.
Was he collected in the OC Extra incident?
Potentially, I don't remember 100%, but it's going to be interesting here. K-Man, F1 Twitch were first and second. They get to pit now, come up to the back of the field here, which isn't a massive field at this stage. So yeah, we'll see what happens on this restart. I'm very much, I don't quite remember what happened, so I'm looking forward to watching this battle.
Yeah, I remember that this top 3 battled for a while, but I don't remember exactly how it did go. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Bonker Boy still has that 5-second time penalty. So he will be in all worlds of pain because of that penalty. And talking about this game, the high gears you had to use. Obviously, you're on traction control, but definitely the safety car restarts were difficult for me. I remember behind other cars when I didn't have control, because I'd be in that high gear and I just would not get underway with the amount of torque the game was giving me.
Yeah, well, this game was definitely very tricky in a lot of ways, which sort of advantaged the controller players a little bit more, but obviously if you were good on the wheel you would be a lot faster, but it definitely helped equalise it somewhat in this game at least.
Yeah, and I think that just that's how this season 1 battle ended up being as close as it was between you and I, just battling away, very similar pace in the race. Obviously I had the outstanding quali pace, but when it got down to it, you were always there and consistent and right behind me in the race. And I think that was just partially because of how, in a way, you have to protect the tyres on F122 when you're on no traction.
Yeah, so safety car should be in this lap. Skitz has come in for another pit stop. I think that might have been his third or fourth already for the race here. And yeah, we're finally going to get this race done and away. We've had 4 safety cars in 13 laps. And in this game, I don't think there ever was a limit on safety cars. You could have as many as your heart desired.
I think it was just 5. I think there was a limit, 5. But it was higher than F123's limit.
Yeah, well, it must have been 5 because I think there was 5 safety cars in the race.
Yeah, well, that's for the viewers to find out later on, eh?
Maybe there was 6. Who knows?
Yeah.
Just watching myself warm up the tyres there. Pretty good technique there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you always. I was always really poor at getting the temperature in the tyres on the restarts, whereas you were really good at it.
A lot. The turning circle in F1 2022 was a lot hard. It was a lot harder to weave to warm up the tyres in that game than it is on the current one. Yeah, well, as you can see, look at that janky wheel movement there.
Yeah,
shows.
Well, I mean, when you come down to it, though, you're not weaving on this game, so
yeah,
just hold the brake and accelerator. So the safety car is in this lap, and now Lindsay is following in P2. J-Man will have the lead of the field. Will Lindsay be able to stick with him, or will J-Man get a good run out of that final corner? There's J-Man backing up the pack and trying to potentially put Lindsay under pressure from his teammate Bonker Boy. As there we go, J-Man bolting quite early there. Lindsay had an absolutely appalling restart there, and he's 1.2 seconds behind now, and Lone Fiber trying to put the pressure onto Bonker Boy now. K-Man trying to get involved too as they head into turn 1. They might go 3 wide. No, K-Man backs out of it. Lone Fiber tried to put the pressure onto Bonker Boy there, couldn't get any moves done, and Lone Fiber has to stick around to fight another day as K-Man spun in the background there, and that won't affect this battle too much as Lone Fiber will continue to put the pressure on, and it's Lindsay's job now to try to close back up after his rather bad restart. And J-Man will just try to keep the consistent pace on and make sure Lindsay doesn't catch up. But with Bonker Boy behind Lindsay, Lindsay will be forced to push anyway. So with 13 laps to go in this race, roughly, the chase is on.
Yeah, that poor reaction or poor moment from Lindsay. They actually backed Bonker Boy up into the drivers behind, so it got a little bit hairy there, but fortunately, everyone except K-Man got out alright from that incident. And as you can see, Lindsay back in the DRS range momentarily of myself there. Bonker Boy, Lindsay must have had a moment there because Bonker Boy's caught up quite a few tenths. So we'll see if he can put any pressure on. K-Man's had another spin. Those tyres would be on fire. And he's lost his wing, so he's going to have to come into the pits shortly to sort that one out. Now Lindsay already right on the back of J-Man.
Yeah, so 4 tenths, so Sector 3 must have been mighty for Lindsay. That or J-Man's running a bit more wing than you might expect from a player, as Lindsay in the slipstream sets the fastest lap of the race with a 134.5, and he's gaining it to turn 1. He's used nearly half of his battery already. He's on what looks to be 58%, and he is pushing very, very hard, while I think J-Man may be protecting his tyres. We'll have to see as we head through Sector 1, though. This is where the controller with the switchbacks constantly through the S's had a bit of a struggle on F122, and this is where you could really protect those tyres even when you were pushing on the wheel.
Yeah, so a little bit more pace from myself through that first sector in particular. Bonker Boy's still trying to hang on to the back of the Alfa Romeo there. He's doing a solid job so far, but look at the gain out of that corner from Lindsay into the hairpin. It's very, very close there, and a lot more pace throughout the middle part of the lap for Lindsay here with about 12 laps to go in this race. You can see how much he's gaining now, and this could get very close between the two of them. Just stays behind for the moment. No real room to make a move. Now he's going to have a couple straights to give it a go. Bonker Boy has gained some time as well. This could turn into an interesting three-car battle here. Lindsay gaining. Is he going to make a move here? No, just lifts off, waits for a better opportunity as we get towards the final chicane here.
Yeah, so Lindsay now dummies it as they head into the chicane. J-Man not falling for any sort of tricks though, as Lindsay now short shifts up to 5th, and he's now going to go up the gears. No DRS yet, but it is now enabled this lap. Bonker Boy sets the fast lap of the race with a 1 minute 34.576, and Lindsay only 3/10 behind as they enter into Sector 1. He is definitely all behind him, but the dirty air is causing him some problems, and Tom is just sitting back, waiting for the action to happen.
Yeah, Bonker Boy setting the fastest lap. He did have some fantastic race pace on this track as well. So I think his performance so far has gone under the radar a little bit, although he is low on battery, as we just saw from the back of his car. And just look at the pace Lindsay has through these slower speed corners over the Aston Martin, and now the pressure is right on. Is he going to fancy a move into the hairpin or late into Sector 3? Doesn't look like it. Just waiting to set up that DRS overtake is probably the best option at this stage. And you can see a move is bound to happen here shortly.
Yeah, Lindsay burning all of his battery, but I imagine J-Man would be burning quite a lot too as they head through Spoon, and now they're running to 130R. Will this be a repeat of last lap, or will Lindsay try get the move done into 130R with a recreation of Fernando Alonso's 2006 move? He does pull to the outside. Will he get the move done right around the outside? He might get it done. There's a bit of a wheel bump there, but it's not too desperate now. J-Man will get DRS as they head down the back straight and should get Lindsay back. So maybe not the best place to go for a move for Lindsay, as yeah, J-Man is also out of battery, but now with the DRS, Lindsay sets the fast lap of the race, and J-Man is now going to try go right around the outside as they head through turn 1. Will Lindsay be able to defend on the inside? No, he slots behind J-Man for the moment, and will probably try and launch a DRS attack, much like J-Man did, but on the next lap.
Yeah, gee, what a slick move by J-Man there. Really controlled driving. You can see the battery is pretty identical between both of them here. Bonker Boy has even less battery, so he's pushing hard to try and hang on to that battle, but now for DRS he might struggle to hang on to it. 10 laps to go now. Lindsay's still hanging on, but yeah, probably making a move down the main straight would be his best option to enable himself to pull away a little bit.
Yeah, obviously Lindsay has had the upper hand in situations like this previously in this season, but J-Man normally tends to just come out on top by keeping a cool head when Lindsay might not. So we'll have to see if that's a repeat of the same sort of situation as this race unfolds. But as now we run out of Spoon and back onto the straight, Lindsay not as close as he has been on other laps, so he might not go for a move into 130R, but will he go for a move into turn 1? I think he's going to sit there and pick his places properly this time.
Yeah, as you can see, look at the gain there. He could even make a move into the final chicane, but he's learnt from the previous lap and now will look to make a move into the main straight here, but just a little bit too far back.
Yep, so the DRS is now enabled for Lindsay, and he's gaining. He's going to pick the outside. He pulls to the left. J-Man gives him a bit of a squeeze. He was inviting him to the inside, but he doesn't take it, and he sails right around the outside through turn 1. What an impressive move there from the Alfa Romeo driver, and J-Man was defenseless against it.
Yeah, or maybe that was tactical from J-Man there, just letting him through. Yep, it's still pretty close here, but I imagine Lindsay has been looking very racy here, so is J-Man going to be able to hang on to the back of him? We will find out.
Yeah, so as we enter into Sector 2 now, Lindsay has been suffering through Sector 1 and Sector 2 with the dirty air, and now he is going to have the track to himself to try pull away, but right now the gap is only 5/10. And as we make our way towards Spoon, if Lindsay can't pull out another gap, J-Man might be able to have a move back, and they might switch for the lead once again. But this will be interesting to watch. Lindsay got a good exit there, and he has 7/10 to J-Man. So even though he's cornering quite well, he seems to have some nice straight line speed under the hood of that Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, I think it's a great exit out of that corner there as well, just gaining time on those exits. And now J-Man falling into the hands of his teammate. Bonker Boy is only 3/10 behind. Could there be a potential position swap here for the Aston Martins? Is Bonker Boy getting really close here, just 2/10 behind?
Yeah, so the Aston Martins may have a bit of a switch here as they enter the straight. Bonker Boy opens up the DRS, and will he go to the inside or the outside of J-Man? Bonker Boy takes the outside. Will he try to replicate Lindsay's move? Yes, he does, but the Aston Martins aren't going to fight there as Bonker Boy runs off the track and J-Man gets passed through, back through on Bonker Boy. So Bonker Boy may be showing a bit of impatience there to get past his teammate.
Yeah, well, I think that move was orchestrated, but Bonker Boy just outbraked himself at turn 1, so... and it's about 1.3 seconds the gap, so still an opportunity for Bonker Boy to make his way through and see if he can catch up to Lindsay at all here. But yeah, I think myself just struggling with pace. The tyres starting to drop off a little bit here as we get towards the end of this race.
Yeah, I think everybody's tyres will be starting to drop off as they're 9-lap and 10-lap old respectively on those hard tyres. I think around this point in the race, they'll probably be sitting around 30%, and as we reach these final 7 laps of the race, they'll probably be sitting somewhere into those 50s, so a late safety car would be very beneficial for these drivers to just pit late, get some softs on, and go for a charge. As Bonker Boy closing the gap to his teammate, and J-Man just gonna let him through there, runs off the track and just lets Bonker Boy through to try to take a charge at Lindsay. And now the gap is 2.4 seconds, so Lindsay having some extremely good pace around this track.
Yeah, probably the only time this season where the other Aston Martin has shown more pace here, so we'll see what Bonker Boy can do with that pace advantage. And just shows how far the development has come in this game, where Bonker Boy used to have the edge on me on quite a few tracks, but now it's completely flipped around, so we'll see if he can gain. He has actually gained a little bit there through the first sector.
Yeah, so Bonker Boy, without that dirty air, closing up a little bit, but I think Lindsay might, now that he has that gap, just be saving his battery and protecting his tyres a little bit.
Yep, so yeah, it's looks like Lindsay just sort of relaxing out front at the moment. Bonker Boy trying his best to push, but I think the battery has almost been completely burnt. In the meantime, K-Man about a minute and a half back here from F1 Twitch, so he's been struggling. Lone Fibre actually not that far off Bonker Boy at the moment either.
So maybe a bit of a battle to unfold.
Yeah, potentially. It depends. Maybe we'll get a late safety car of some sort to spice up this race a little bit, but at the moment it looks like Lindsay is pretty comfortable out front.
Yeah, so as we come on to lap 21, after Lindsay gets past the chicane, I think looks like he's got the win in the bag right now, unless any, as you said, sort of safety cars will come into play, but J-Man just sticking within the DRS of his teammate. Is that strategical? Because Tom has potentially realised he can't catch up.
I think Bonker Boy is still trying to catch up here as
he goes under the grass.
As a moment here could make it a little bit uncomfortably close here. Yeah, I think the plan is see if Bonker Boy can catch. If not, swap the positions back at the end of the race to minimise the impact to the championship. So we'll see what happens here. He's still getting very, very close, looking down the inside, and that was probably a little bit too close for comfort there between Aston Martin teammates, but they get it sorted out for the moment as Lone Fibre has now pulled that within to DRS range, so this could get interesting between these three.
Yeah, this battle could spice up the championship if any incidents do occur, as Lindsay now has 3.5 seconds to Bonker Boy, so he's gained another second after that mistake at the S's, and J-Man super close behind Bonker Boy now, and might be able to go for a move, but Lone Fibre also quite close behind J-Man, and does he have better straight line speed than the Aston Martin? They do have the same engine, but obviously the setup makes a difference on this game with these equal performance cars.
Yeah, so 6 laps to go now. It's going to be about Only minimising the damage here for J-Man as Bonker Boy comes into the pits to get rid of those hard tyres and that 5-second penalty and see if he can make an impact. He's only going to lose 2 places, so not the worst decision in the world here as Lone Fibre now pressuring J-Man, so could get close towards the end of this race.
Yeah, this battle could be quite big for the championship if any incidents happen. K-Man still a minute and a half behind and just trundling through turn 1. Could he potentially call it quits to this race and retire soon?
Yeah, well, we'll see. He'll be hopefully looking to just score points that he's got at the moment. He'll be pretty happy with that haul as A-Man's now pulled a little bit more of a gap to Lone Fibre, just hanging around that 1 second mark. Lone Fibre's shown some good pace ever since going to those hard tyres. He's pulled that gap in. Lindsay's still holding around a 4 second gap, so probably not pushing as fast as he possibly could be. But yeah, Bonker Boy now down in 5th place and trying to chase down Skits for that 4th at the moment.
Yeah, the hard tyres will be reaching well into that 50% range, probably around 56 to 57, so they will be getting close to that puncture range, but they will make the end as there's a yellow flag in Sector 2. It is K-Man rolling back down the circuit, stopped on track. We did talk about him potentially calling it quits in this race. Will this cause a safety car, though? He's just standing stopped on track, and it is a safety car. Lindsay misses the pit lane, but gets past the safety car. J-Man, though, only 4 seconds behind, and this is where the strategy call needs to be made, because I think J-Man will play a game of, if Lindsay pits, I won't, and try to keep the track position, and vice versa. So who blinks to pit first?
They're very close. Lone Fibre got to the safety car there, but this really spices up the race now. So what will the leaders do? Will they come in for fresh tyres? There's 4 laps to go. Those hard tyres will be screaming on both of those cars. And crucially, a pit stop gap to Bonker Boy in 4th allows any of the top 3 to come into the pits if they choose to. We know that J-Man doesn't have any good new soft tyres left. He used them for about 5 laps earlier on in the race. So does he pit back onto those medium tyres that he wasn't able to use for long potentially? And what will Lindsay do with his tyres?
Yeah, I think if I were in my own situation, I would probably pit if it was current me. But we'll see what strategy call I make. And Lone Fibre, he's a bit of an underrated person to potentially snatch this race, but he does have a penalty which could hurt him. He has 9 seconds, so with only a few laps to go, I doubt it. But Bonker Boy lingering in the background obviously did previously pit. He won't have as fresh a tyres, but he will be able to make the end, as Lindsay doesn't come in, and J-Man does come in for fresh tyres.
And Lone Fibre as well. Very curious by Lindsay to not pit there, because surely he had a set of soft tyres ready to go, whereas J-Man had no new tyres left to use. So, interesting decision there as J-Man puts on the mediums he had at the start of the race, and now Bonker Boy coming around the final corner, but he won't get past either J-Man or Lone Fibre.
So this is where the race can be made or destroyed. And Lindsay obviously did have pace, but fresh tyres, especially fresh softs, compared to 57%-ish worn hards. Surely that's a difference that pace can't make up.
Yeah, just would have thought that you'd come into the pits in this situation with not losing that many places. In fact, you probably would have only lost 1 place if you did come in for new tyres. But maybe potentially worried about the potential of incident there, which is a fair concern. But we'll see what the difference is on the fresh tyres here as drivers start to catch up to the safety car.
Yeah, so Lindsay might have his thoughts set in now. He might realise how much pressure he will be under come this safety car restart, and it's all thanks to the Alpine of K-Man.
Yeah, K-Man didn't actually retire there, so just had a little bit of a moment. Not exactly sure what happened, but we'll just pretend like we don't know. So yeah, K-Man, those 4-lap medium tyres, best tyres available in his arsenal. And Bonker Boy on 2-lap old softs against Lone Fiber's fresh softs. So in this position, you'd probably say Lone Fiber in the best position without those penalties to get past both J-Man and Lindsay here.
Yeah, I think I'd happen to agree with you, but obviously he does have those 9 second of penalties, so will he go for a move even with penalties on this restart?
Yeah, I think he's gonna give it his best shot with those tyres. Definitely pull out a gap in a couple laps. I think we will get 2 laps before safety car does come in. I'm not sure if everyone's even going to be able to catch it. I don't think F1 Twitch will be able to. He's the second sector at the moment.
Yeah, obviously K-Man lapped in this race, so nothing much for K-Man to be doing, but he will catch the safety car, so maybe, maybe if he turns the cheats on, he could pull out something special.
Yeah, this will be the first restart with Lindsay and J-Man as 1-2 as well. The first two had Bonker Boy in second place. He's down in fourth at the moment, but definitely a possibility of him coming through if the two leaders get tangled up. We shall see what happens here.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting. As seeing as we have nothing to talk about under the safety car until it gets told coming in, will we do post-race interviews with each other?
I just it'd be interesting to see how that works, but probably not. Could we get whoever I need to get Tom in to do a post-race interview.
Surely. Or we give Mr. Gamer, the commentator, a last-second call-up, ask if he's online to give us our own interviews.
I'll check where he is on the stat maps, and I'll give him a ring after the race.
Alrighty.
Makes it work.
Oh.
I'll still call him.
Yeah, he might be on break.
Yeah.
So imagine...
Bonker Boy's actually made up into third place here, so I think Lone Fiber's gone off the track there and lost out of place there.
Yeah, and the safety car is in at the end of this lap, so this is where crunch time is on. J-Man on fresh, warm tyres, Lindsay on cold, old, hard tyres. Will he be able to defend like Fernando Alonso, or will it go desperately wrong? We'll have to see. As we're going to get underway here, as Lindsay gets the power down, and he's bolting away, and he loses it,
no!
and he collects J-Man, and that is crucial for this race. Bonker Boy moves up into P1, Lindsay drops down to P4, J-Man has sustained some damage, as Lone Fiber will put the pressure on now, as they enter through Sector 1. I don't think J-Man has a wing, and Lindsay's only 6 seconds behind, so is this salvageable?
Bonker Boy has just had a Steve Bradbury moment there into the lead of the race. J-Man no wing on that car at all. 7 seconds. Lindsay Lone Fiber's been spun around. It's now Aston Martin 1 and 2. No wing for J-Man. It could get a little bit close towards the end of this race. Bonker Boy now has a 4-second gap to the lead, and I think he might be home here. What a miracle this would be for Bonker Boy. You can see J-Man just trundling around the track at slow pace. Lone Fiber... he's going to be catching up massively. He didn't get any damage from that spin. We'll see if he can maybe gain a position from this potentially on the second last lap of this race. Unbelievable stuff. What has happened here in Japan? Lindsay just losing it on the restart.
Yeah, so those old cold tyres, as we were talking about, just bit him a bit. Wrong strategy call to stay out on those hards, and now he is paying the price. But Lone Fiber and J-Man both have damage, so if Lindsay gets a move on with it, even on old hard tyres, he has a full wing, somehow. Will he be able to catch up and still claim P2 in this race after such a devastating incident?
And J-Man picks up a 3-second time penalty there as well, unfortunately. Yeah, the front wing making it a little bit more difficult as he's still trying to keep up pace as Bonker Boy sets the fastest lap of the race, and he has a 6-second gap out front. Lone Fiber is now within the DRS, although the DRS won't have been enabled. Around 1 second away from J-Man as he enters into turn 1. You can see just how slowly he has to take it through these S's here. Lindsay 2.8 behind. He'll be about 3.6 behind J-Man now. So it could get a little bit closer penalties here, but Lindsay should be able to get in front of both these drivers on penalties as Lone Fiber makes his way through on J-Man there, and he's now really struggling with no wing.
Yeah, as Lindsay should close up and potentially get him on track. This would be a good result for Lindsay if he can even salvage P2 as Lone Fiber gets another 3-second time penalty. Lindsay now only 1.7 seconds behind his championship rival in J-Man. Will he be able to get any sort of moves done as he's now 8/10 behind? It's a safe bet to say he will get back up into P2.
Yeah, it looks like he's got it home. Just needs to keep it under control now. And Lone Fiber currently sitting in that P2, but with those penalties, it's not going to matter too much. He might even lose out to Skits, who's 6 seconds. Or actually, Skits just had a moment there. I think that's lost a lot of time. And now Lindsay and J-Man going wheel to wheel. I think it's going to make too much of a difference. But in the meantime, Bonker Boy's going to round the final corner. And he's going to take his first win in ORL as he crosses the line. Bonker Boy going to win in Japan and set the fastest lap. Daniel Ricciardo style. Lone Fiber spins at the final corner. It won't matter. J-Man will come home in P2 on the track, but Lindsay will take it after penalties. J-Man finishes off the podium, but well done, Bonker Boy. Incredible effort for his first win in ORL.
Yeah, and as the history books would show it, this is his only win to date in ORL. So what a special one it was.
Yep, and what a wonderful moment for Bonker Boy and his family. I'm sure they're watching back home, and they'll be very proud of him. And we'll see if we can get him in for a post-race interview as well.
Yes, I'll quickly pop up a instant replay of what happened on that safety car restart. As let's see if we can find it. Hey, so
let's see if we can get Tom in for a post-race interview.
Yeah.
Odds of him answering this are low.
There's a lot of history here. As here it is. Here is the instant replay from Lindsay's POV. We'll get the radio on too, so we'll see the team radio. As he's plus 6 laps on fuel, J-Man pulls alongside and he just gets back on the power and he spins and just collects J-Man.
I did nothing.
And he was not happy with it. And we'll also get an instant replay of an overtake he'd gotten earlier on in the race here. So,
no, we don't need to say that.
He'll try it. Let's get a replay here in the DRS. This was a move that we thought would be crucial at the time, but turned out not to be. Just sailing right around the outside of J-Man, just making it look easy, but at the end of the day, it all wasn't worth it, as he's thrown it all away. And we'll now bring you to your final results. We'll just skip past and we'll go to the podium sequence.
Oh, yeah.
So,
what a lovely moment that was.
Tom taking home the win in Division 1. Lindsay somehow still coming on P2. J-Man P3. So, despite the circumstances, the podium is still somewhat what you'd expect, but I just don't think in the order we all expected it to be in. So, Aston Martin...
After this, I will link the perspective of myself, Tom, and Dex for this race. I highly encourage you to check that out. That was a very interesting race from our side as well. So, unfortunately, we couldn't get Tom in for the interview, but I'm sure what he'd say would be not appropriate for live stream anyway.
So, your winner, and with the fastest lap, is Bonker Boy. And then Lindsay P2, J-Man P3, Lone Fiber P4, Skits comes home P5, so third in the championship. Not having a bad race, but look at all of the pit stops.
Yeah, those tyre changes, absolutely mental. I won't say that nowadays, but yep. A lot of incidents. That's just how it goes in ORL.
Yeah, at least back in the Season 1, Div 1 days, and that will be all for Division 1 race replay, race re-commentary for Japan here. And that will be all, and we'll see you next week for the racing action return.